Retro video games. My God, is that a crazy blanket statement these days, but there are YouTube channels dedicated to retro video gaming like my own, gaming communities based around the love for retro video games, but maybe you're not sold yet. Maybe you don't understand the hoopla here with retro video games. So on this episode, we're gonna talk about 10 reasons that you should be playing retro video games right freaking now. Let's get into it.
That's what I expected.
What is good, my pack rats? Pac-Man Case. Guys, I am coming at you with a fun video where we're gonna talk about the reasons why you should be playing retro video games right now, especially if you are a novice to this hobby. If you are trying to dip your toes into the retro video game scene and you're kind of scared because of the amount of craziness that this has blown up within these last couple years, then you've come to the right place. Hopefully these convince you, my fine friends. Let's get into it. Alright guys, first up, one of the best benefits of being a retro video game player is that we do not have to wait for anything. That's right, in the modern day gaming era, you have to wait before you can do anything. You pop your game in and you are already at either a loading screen or a day one patch or a download. It just sucks. And with retro video games, you do not have to worry about that anymore. You take the game, you put it in to the console, and boom, you're playing. For the most part, you never have to worry about many loading screens. You don't have to worry about waiting for a day one patch. The game just works and you are ready to play. If that's not a reason, I don't know what the hell would be. Let's keep going. Guys, video games today are crazy complicated. Not only are you forced to do a tutorial in the beginning of almost every game to understand how the control scheme works, but on top of it, there's like 17 buttons you need to learn and map out in your head for future gameplay. If you are retro gaming, let's say you go back to some of the OGs like Nintendo or Sega, it's 2 buttons or 3 buttons, baby, that's right. Not a lot of crazy stuff for you to learn. It was very pick up and play, easy. You grab it, your character is off and running. You're either jumping, you're shooting a fireball, or you're walking or running. And it was that easy on most of these platformers. So to this day, for gameplay, anything from control scheme all the way through platforming or an RPG, it was a lot easier back in the day, and it's a reason why you should be playing your retro video games right now. Simple. Boom. All of these games that you're playing today, as of filming this, 2021, a lot of them are remakes, rehashes, reboots, things that have all happened once before. And the reason that they've happened before is because there is a rich history from where these characters came from. And the reason why you should be playing retro video games right now is to go experience that history. Go see the start of when some of these games were first created, when some of these characters debuted for the first time, and see what their origins were. You can have a lot of respect for some of these modern games when you realize where this stuff has came from, and I promise you, you might have some fun along the way learning about these characters. So do it. Go check out the history. Let's keep it going. We all got busy lives. I get it, right? Sometimes we only have 30 minutes to an hour to sit down and play a game. Well, not these new games. You got a modern game right now, and you better make sure that you can put that much time into it just to start the damn thing. With retro video games, you got 30 minutes, you got an hour. Sometimes you can beat the game in that time, if not, just enjoy it for what it is. The levels were not extraordinarily long. There was some difficulty to it, which gave it some replayability, but if you had 30 minutes, you would make way more use of your time than you would in today's modern video games. So, if you're looking to just get a little bit more from that grandfather clock back in your pocket, then you need to be playing some retro video games, because then you can just sit down, enjoy yourself for a lunch break, and that's it. There is nothing better than getting a group of friends together and throwing down on some retro video games. That's right, the multiplayer experience was so strong, the golden era, if you will. We're talking about the 64, Dreamcast, Xbox eras. You had 4 controller ports for a reason, and that was to enjoy some multiplayer games. This is not something that they really focus on anymore with the modern day games. A lot of times, you know, maybe a person, maybe you do the online play, but there is something very different about sitting down with some friends and actually enjoying that experience. And what better way than to retro game it up with 4 controller ports, so you're all snugged right next to each other and you're elbowing each other through these games. It is a blast. Multiplayer experience is something that I feel has never been recreated since those retro good days, and you need to be playing it right now. Something that is criminally underrated about retro video games is that feeling of retro goodness, and I am talking about tangible feeling. You know what? Blowing on a cartridge back in the day, even though we found out it was bad for the games, has an experience. You felt like you were in control to get that game to work. And boy, would we literally lose our breath trying to figure out why these damn games wouldn't work. That experience is no different from actually pushing a power button, actually plugging a controller in. That experience matters with retro video games, and there's nothing like it when you come to the digital modern video games. The reason why we had this experience and this nostalgic feeling of enjoying these video games is because they were so tangible to us. And to this day, I think that is very, very underrated of a reason why retro video games still feel so fun. So take that one to the bank and get on the retro video game wagon. Next. Another easily skipped reason why you should be playing retro video games right now is the artwork and the music. And the reason I put both of these in the same category is I feel that they are offset from the actual gameplay enough that most people do not recognize how epic some of the original soundtracks of these games are, as well as the artwork. Pixel Game Squad just made a video recently talking about how amazing some of the artwork is on the clamshells of the Sega Genesis cartridges, the original NES cartridges, the Super Nintendo games, and that they're amazing to display because of that artwork versus disc-based games. But the reason why they're so epic is you can tell the time and effort put into the marketing to enjoy those video games. On top of the epic scores that were made for these original soundtracks, that experience is something like none other. I think the closest I've gotten was the newest God of War to really feeling like they worked on a soundtrack that meant a lot to the game. But that was pretty much the status quo for every single retro video game back in the day. They wanted to have you experience this feeling. They had these original chip tunes that they created and this artwork to get you jacked up about the game, and you do not have that with any type of modern day gaming today. That retro video game artwork and music will always bring you back, and a reason you should be experiencing it right now. Let's keep going. Pack Rats, this next one is a cheap shot, and I'm not even sorry about it. How many times can we play a Call of Duty game before we get fatigue? How many times can we get a new Madden and not be excited about it? Is Minecraft finally dead? I just don't know anymore, but I'll tell you what, break away from that norm and just experience something old, because retro video games will give you an experience that you just don't get from today's video games. And that machine just keeps turning out stuff you've already played, when in the back was all of these original developed games, or ones that never even got sequels that you missed out on because all you're playing is the popular stuff. So get in, get some deep cuts, and enjoy the retro video games and what they have to offer. Do it. Do it. I'm waiting. Guys, last but certainly not least, and this is also the most simplistic reason why you should be playing video games today, they are fun. And I'm not just saying it to say it. They are fun, entertaining games, groundbreaking things. The gameplay to this day holds up against almost any modern game. The music, the artwork, you put it all together, wrap it with a bow, and there you go, where you are presented with the best and most fun experience that you'll have in gaming. So, you're welcome. Pack Rats, this has been fun. That was 10 reasons that you should be playing retro video games right now. Can you add to the list? Are you a first-time gamer and you're like, wow, those are great reasons that I should be playing some retro video games? Do you disagree? And you're like, I don't know what this guy's talking about. I don't enjoy any retro video games. Here's the reasons why. Hit the comments below, guys. Let me know. I would love to hear your reasoning behind whether you enjoy or don't enjoy retro video games. If you like what I got going on, you like my silly content, hit that subscribe button for me, hit the notification bell, because we all know YouTube hates me. And I'll see you guys in the next Pac-Man case creation. Later, taters.